Welcome fathers who are looking to inspire their kids and become fearless. This is the Become a Fearless Father show and I'm your host, Klaas van Oosterhout. I'm a father of 2 boys, husband and entrepreneur. This show is created to teach you how to take control and enjoy the most difficult job you've ever faced, fatherhood. I'm going to keep it real and share real life experience. A heads up, there is no magic pill. You will have to put in the hours, sweat and tears to achieve victory. Are you ready to improve your health, wealth, relationships, knowledge and become the hero your family needs you to be? I know you are. So get your pen and paper ready and let's become fearless fathers together.
So Dominic, nice meeting you, first of all, online.
And you too, man. Thank you for having us. I appreciate you reaching out like you did. So yeah, man, it's good to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. I don't think I was the first that saw your YouTube channel. However, I think I was the most excited one about your project, immediately responding. I think it's amazing. We'll talk about it in a little bit as well. And then we go. Let's start off, Dominic. Just maybe you can explain a little bit your story, who you are, where you're from,
My superhero origin story, right?
There you go.
So I'm 27. I live in Sunderland at the minute, which is a small city outside of Newcastle in the northeast of England. I was born and raised in York, which is a historical city a little bit further south. Not a bad upbringing, it was nice. It was tidy. I never really did any form of any combat sports or fitness. I was never your fitness freak kind of kid. I was just your normal average kid. Well, I suppose that wouldn't be normal because normal kids play football and have some form of athletics. So I was quite lazy growing up. I've never really paid attention to my diet. I've never really paid attention to anything. And I got to, in my local youth club, I did a little bit of boxing. My mum sent me to Taekwondo when I was maybe about 10. I did 5 lessons. Couldn't tell you a thing that I learned or anything like that. To speak to me outside of what I do, you'd never, or I even just never take pleasure in hurting someone or wanting to hurt someone or inflict pain. But then as soon as I walked into the gym, when I was, 23, I think I must have been 23, 24, 2014, May of 2014, I walked in, can I swear?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I shit my pants. I walked in and the head coach was sparring with a guy called Gordon Smith. And Gordon's quite a heavy hitter and Craig's just technical and an absolute beast. And I just saw them. And I thought it was an MMA gym. And there were MMA classes going on at the time. And I just I wanted to go in because I'd never been into that sort of environment. And I scoped it out. I just wanted to kind of experiment and find out what it is that I wanted to do. And it was a Muay Thai. The gym is a Muay Thai gym. Craig's background and predominantly 60-fight career was in Thai boxing. So seeing these two high level guys sparring, when I walked in for a beginner session, my bumhole was pulsating. I was like, oh my God, what have I got myself into? But then I remember him holding pads because it was a dead quiet beginners class. There was only maybe 2 or 3 in there, 2 or 3 of us in. So it was almost like a private that we got. And I remember as soon as I put my gloves on and my hand hit that pad, I was like, man, I feel so at home doing this. And the rest is history. 4 years down the line, I'm here. We're building a fight record at the moment. I am officially training for my first fight. I'm now married. I've got 2 children, hold down a full-time job. So life's absolutely mental, but it's good. We love it.
Nice, good to hear. That's excellent. I like your explanation, your experience watching Muay Thai for the first time.
I hadn't even researched it or anything. I literally I think I googled maybe combat sports in Newcastle or boxing or something like that, And I was working in Newcastle at the time, and Northern Kings came up top, clicked on it, said Muay Thai. Didn't even bother researching because I'd got in my head that I wanted to do it. It said Muay Thai MMA. I said, sorted, that'll do me. So I literally walked in and I was like, oh my God, like what's going on in here? But fell in love with it, man. Like it gets under your skin so far and so fast. Like it quickly became such a massive part of my life. And I haven't looked back from it.
Nice. So if I saw it correctly, you got 2 boys, correct?
I do, yeah. Maximus and Maverick. One, Maximus is nearly 3. He turns 3 in about 2 weeks. And Maverick is 9 months old. Just about to turn 9 months old. So, yeah, wifey's got a work cut out for her.
Wow, okay. So, in comparison to watching that first time you stepped into the gym of Muay Thai, how was that feeling when your wife said, I'm pregnant, you're going to be a father?
It wasn't far different. I shit my pants. I mean, neither of them were planned. Maximus, the first one was kind of almost expected a little bit. And I mean, we weren't being careful, so it didn't really come as too much of a surprise, you know? Like, it's not that we were trying for a child, but we were comfortable. We were in a nice position, and we were married, and we were saving for our house and stuff. So, I mean, it was what we call a happy surprise, you know? It was unplanned, but we wouldn't change him for the world, man. He's an absolute superstar. Number 2, however, that's a kind of a bit of a different story. Like, that was more of a, shit, what are we going to do around here? Like, there's going to be another one. I mean, I always wanted Maximus to have brothers or sisters. Probably brothers in my family. Like, my family is notorious for having boys. So, yeah, like, the feeling of becoming a dad, I've worked with children before. So I lived out in Switzerland for a couple of years, and I worked in a nursery over there. So I kind of knew what it would take to be, to some degree, I kind of knew what it would be to have a child under your care for a set period of time. The glorious thing about working in an environment like that is that you can give them back at 5 o'clock and say, have fun, go feed them, get them to bed. But yeah, like realistically, I was probably the more experienced out of the pair of us, because I'd changed the nappy before, I'd fed a baby before. Like, my wife had never changed a nappy, and she'd never fed, she'd never done all of these things. So she was looking to me at that point for advice and for guidance. That very quickly turned into her guiding me, because she would spend most time with them while I was out at work and stuff. So I wouldn't change it for the world, but it came as a big shock. The second one, mostly. Maverick was a big shock. But again, like, I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, it's such a little dude. They're both asleep downstairs on the sofa at the minute. But yeah, they're both so cool. And having the opportunity to watch and influence them as they grow, like, it's such a great opportunity, really.
Excellent. Good to hear. I just want to ask that because, of course, I want to make sure that this evolves mostly around the kids and less about our passion in regards to Muay Thai, because I had that with Don Heatrick, which I spoke last week, as you know, as well. It's like we both have also a passion for Muay Thai, and it's so easy to go away from the topic.
Of course, yeah.
But Lad, I always like to start after the viewers knowing you a little bit better with an obvious question or something that's easy to get into. So I know you through Fat Lad to Fighter. So why Fat Lad to Fighter?
Well, Fat Lad to Fighter is a side project of a bigger operation called Fight Record. So Fat Lad to Fighter, I guess it's kind of me being a little bit selfish in the respect that I've trained now for 4 years, and I've always wanted to test my ability to get into the ring. And it's a funny story. I was going to do it next year. I was putting the motions in place to all start it in January of this coming January next year. But when I started planning it all, somebody asked me like, well, what are you waiting for? If you're ready now and you're good, like just do it. Do you know what I mean? Like there's nothing holding you back. And literally it all happened within the space of about a week. It went from planning to speaking to people to shit, this is going ahead now. So yeah, it was, I mean, my Muay Thai technique is good enough. Like I can hold my own with the fighters in the classes, and like I can hold my own with them. It's always been a weight issue, and being able to share and document that journey to help, I don't want to say educate, but help tell my story about how I've correctly cut weight to get myself down to a healthy fight weight, to then maintain, because Fat Lad to Fighter won't end after December when I've had the fight. It'll then turn into maintaining a healthy walk around weight and not going back up to 90 kilos when I need to drop down to 75 to fight, and kind of just how to live a healthy lifestyle. And that's quickly what it turned into, rather than me just documenting my training journey, you know? So why Fat Lad to Fighter? I wanted to be a little bit selfish. I wanted to fight, man. I wanted to fight. And more see if I could do it. I might get in there and hate it, but then again, I might not. So you just don't know. And you never really truly know yourself unless you put yourself in a position where you're completely out of your comfort zone and you're doing something that, well, makes you scared. So yeah, and I guess that ties quite nicely into being a parent, because you don't know, do you? And times are scary and all of those things that I suppose it's very, very parallel in many ways, shape or forms. There's so many obstacles that you have to overcome during being a parent, and your fight camp might only be 8 weeks, but being a parent is hopefully for the rest of your life, isn't it? Like it's crazy, man.
Exactly. I love what you said. You never really know yourself until you've went into that uncomfort zone. That's brilliant. And that makes a lot of sense. And of course, that means that, we don't all have to do the same. We don't all have to step into the ring to find that zone that's way out of our comfort. So, but it definitely helps.
Absolutely. I mean, even just running, jogging, you think you can maybe run 2 kilometers, but if you push yourself and with your lungs burning, your lactic acid filling your muscles and you're cramping up, but if you can mentally tell yourself, nah, I can do another kilometer, I tell you what, I'm just going to make it to the next lamppost, next lamppost, next lamppost. By the time you've done 5 kilometers in, and you're thinking, what bloody hell, how did I do that? So it's not just in the ring, like it's in every aspect of life. It's putting yourself in an uncomfortable position to inevitably make the microfiber tears to repair yourself and make yourself a bigger and better person, man. It's life, isn't it? Getting deep and philosophical now.
Yeah, well, that's brilliant. That's what, me personally, that's what I like, and that's what I like to share with my audience and my future audience, because that's what makes us learn. And I believe dearly that's what we should do as fathers. We should try to be more close and share each other's experiences and push each other to reach those zones, to become better parents, and that way raise better children, so they're prepared. But we'll get into that as well. I got a couple of questions that I mixed in a little bit with my own questions and questions that other people had, fathers that have been joining me over.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
hey, sorry for the interruption. I know you're really enjoying the show. Just want to make sure, if you're liking this information, please subscribe and press the like button. And also, go visit becomeafearlessfather.com. You get the opportunity to share your biggest challenge at the moment as a father, and it gives me the opportunity to try and help you overcome this. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of the show.
I actually wanted to say that you and I have somewhat of a similar story. We've had a period of time that we hadn't done anything in regards to working out or training or all those kind of stuff. And at least for me, I all of a sudden I had kids, and then I decided, that's it. I gotta do something. There's stuff I can't do that I as a father, I believe I must be able to do. And especially, I think you have to be that example, you know. And I looked at myself. I at one point was about 93 kilos, and now I'm about 74. So there was some chubbiness.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, what was that something for you that made you say, okay, I gotta change. I
know the exact moment. Which kind of did spike Fat Lad to Fighter. Mm-hmm. So the catalyst for it all was I was in Sunderland. My wife was in New Look, and there was like this big grassy area. And at one end you've got New Look, and then at the other end you've got a main road. But all in here, it's free roam, it's grassy, and there's like a concrete path that runs through it and stuff. And me and my little boy were outside New Look waiting for my wife to finish shopping, and Maxie, he just darted off. And he was on his little balance bike, so he was like running on his balance bike, and he was way taking off. And I tried to run after him and say, Maximus, stop! And like I had to go and chase him and try to go get him, but like somebody else had to stop him because I couldn't run fast enough. And by the time I got there, I was out of puff and you shouldn't do that, son. You know, like and I thought, shit, man, I'm fat and out of shape here. Like I should have been able to run fast enough to chase him, to catch him, to then stop him myself. So in that moment, I mean, that moment wasn't a defining decision at that moment, if that makes sense. But say like it was a few days later or a week later that I decided, do you know what, I'm actually going to do Fat Lad to Fire. It wasn't in my head because of that, but I suppose it is because of that. And the catalyst, upon reflection, I suppose that would be the pivotal moment as to both Fat Lad to Fight. Well, my now training for my fight. So. Yeah, it was bad, man. Like this woman had to like step out and stop him, and I felt like a bad parent because I couldn't chase my kid and stop him. You know what I mean? But you live and learn these things. I mean, now if he was to do it now, I'd be all over that, and I would be able to prevent him from riding onto a road completely oblivious as 2 or 3 year olds do. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'm actually really happy that you share that story because. For some reason, as humans, we don't think about what actually could happen, you know. And in this case, of course, somebody stepped out. But what would have happened if Maximus just kept going and he would have gone into a street? You know what I mean? And you wouldn't be able to catch him. That those kind of things that make you realize and would be better. So I'm happy you share this because hopefully this makes other fathers that are watching like realizing like.
It does happen, and it will continue happening. I mean, even when you're shopping and like that feeling of, say, like when he walks around the aisle and he goes out of view for that split second, and then when you get to the aisle and he's not there, and you're thinking, well, shit, where is he? And then panic mode sets in, and it's exactly that innate, instinctual fear that you just can't control. Heart starts racing, palms go sweaty, running down the aisle. Where is he? Not that it happens all that often. It's happened maybe once or twice, you know, but. Like it's that instinctual feeling to think, right, I need to protect him. Where is he? I need to keep him safe. Yeah, and then to have that feeling and not be able to do it, it's not a nice feeling, really, I must say.
Exactly. Well, that's great. I appreciate you sharing that story. So, you know, talking about that, you know, I really want to congratulate you on you know, one, that you took the step to get into shape. But what I really like is that you just take it to a whole complete another level. Like you just want to go, okay, yeah, now I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to get in shape. No, you actually said, okay, no, I'm going to go get in shape. Then I'm going to decide I'm going to fight, which hardly anybody likes to do, with the possibility of getting beat up. And then not just that, but you decide, okay, and I'm also going to share my whole story and try to inspire other people out of shape to get their ass out of the couch. That's just amazing. So I was just wondering now that you're doing this and to give the fathers out there a little bit better idea even of what are those benefits that have affected you and the people around you now that you decide, okay, this is the journey that I'm going to take?
It doesn't happen overnight, right? I mean, the whole change that you go through, it's kind of the way that you need to think about it is it's a graph. And imagine your weight's up here, and then as the weight, like, so your weight will stay there for a little while, but then it'll dip, and then it'll plateau again, and then it'll dip, and then it'll plateau again, and it's a work in progress, right? And I suppose it's like that with most things. So your fitness levels are down here, and that's when you have to put the most work in, because you'll plateau, but then you'll realize, oh, I'm in the gym now and I'm actually able to bench 100 kilos, whereas last time I maxed out with 80 or even 90, you know, like, and when you're benching and you feel that little bit stronger, or when you're topless and you're walking past and you see that little bit of definition that you didn't have before, and it's a selfish thing, right? But then to be able to see the difference, I mean, having people comment and saying, oh, you're losing a little bit of weight, you look good for it, and you say thank you, but when you look in the mirror, you still see that guy that you were at 95 kilos, or I still see the 95 kilogram me, still see all your wobbly bits, and I mean, everybody sees the worst parts of themselves, right? But then, like, when you catch just maybe a glimpse of your toning up, and you're like, shit, yeah, that's why I'm doing it. And that's only one reason. Like, obviously I remember Lee, my personal trainer, said, like, as soon as you start eating right, your equilibrium will begin to level out, because you've just been plowing your body full of shit for the past couple of years or whatever, X amount of time. What you'll notice is the cloud, the fogginess, the grogginess, the lack of motivation, all will begin to start clearing. You'll find yourself having that little bit more energy. When you're coming in, you won't want to fall asleep. You'll want to do something else. And the complete flip that you have, and it is a complete flip that you have maybe 2 or 3 weeks in, after your body's cleared out all that crap that you've had, and you've had 2 good solid weeks of eating clean, or eating whatever it is that you eat to lose your weight, then you do begin to start make better decisions. You can make them faster. Before, when I used to wake up, I'd used to snooze my alarm until it was to the point where I'm brinking on lateness, and now I kind of have to get out of bed. But now, like, when I set my alarm, I know that I've got to be up, so I get up and I'm up, and I can have a coffee, I can have a shower, I can have a little workout downstairs before the kids get up, and I can do all of these things before my fatherly duties then kick in. So, I mean, I'm documenting that to show that it can be done, even if you work full time and have another job and a training and are doing these other things and managing your family and all of these things. Like Gary, I don't know whether you follow, do you know of Gary V?
No.
Gary, so there's a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's big on, if you sleep 8 hours a day, that gives you 16 hours of awake time a day. Well, what do you do with those 16 hours? You work 8 of them. Okay, so that leaves you with 8 hours. What do you do with those 8 hours? Okay, two hours with your family, an hour walking the dog, and an hour wake-up routine. That's 4 hours, right? Well, you've got 4 hours. What do you do with those 4 hours? I want to watch TV and maybe watch a bit of Netflix and check Facebook, and well, choose one of them hours and do something with it, or choose all 4 of them hours and work on something, or you've always got if you want an excuse, you'll find an excuse, right? If that feeling to want to do it isn't there, then you won't, and you'll find an excuse. And time generally is that excuse. But when you break it down, if you was to do 2 half-an-hour high-intensity workouts, one in the morning, one in the evening, you'd soon start seeing a difference. Or if you was to prep your food on a Sunday for the next 3 days, you'd notice that you're saving a shitload of money, because you're not buying crap when you're out, you're not snacking, you're not buying fizzy pop, you're not just being wasteful, and that's another benefit. Like if you live like a monk, literally eat, sleep, train, repeat, so the saying goes, then you can save a fortune, man. I mean, I stopped smoking and stopped eating shit, and bank account's looking good at the minute. Like it's, well, to some degree. I've just lost my job and everything, and wifey has just gone back to work off maternity leave. So it's kind of, when I say bank account's looking good, it could be in a much worse position than what it is. But stopping smoking and doing all of them things has helped us be more prepared, you know. It's, yeah, I went off on a complete tangent there, sorry.
That's quite all right. There are still great benefits in there. And I really like the way that you talk about time. We'll get into that in a little bit, because that's also one of the questions that I think one of the biggest obstacles that most people have.
And it's one that's the easiest to break down.
Yeah. But
really,
it's the
when you
biggest
think about it.
people use. It's like, yeah, well, I'm trying to do this and this and this, but I don't have the time. Until what you're saying is break down. So let's get into that a little bit.
Yeah, we can do that.
I also like the fact that you're just saying, like, okay, yeah, you look into the mirror, and then I'm looking, and then I see a little bit already, but I'm not, you're not there yet. So you're still looking at of course, at the stuff.
Well, you naturally do. I mean, anybody who says that they work out and they're not bothered whether they look good or not is a complete liar, and I call bullshit on it, because they do care, and everybody cares. Who wouldn't care about whether they've now got a little bit more definition on their traps and their triceps? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're on the beach, you want to look good, don't you? You know, it's you do. I call complete BS on anybody that says, well, I go to the gym, but it's mainly just because I keep healthy. I'm not bothered about the way that I look. Like, you might say that, but deep down you are. You are.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. I love it. I like my abs. I want to have a six-pack bad, and I'm doing a little worse at the moment. But I had my time that I was like, dang, that looks nice. And even my wife was looking at me like, wow.
You're looking good, yeah, man. Love it. I mean, so, I've never had a six-pack. I've never had a six-pack, right? But I'm not in any way, shape, or form nearly getting abs either. But when I push through the layers of fat, I can feel them, which is closer than I've ever been before, man. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to go into core. And the belly fat is the hardest bit to get rid of, in it. Like, and it's the last bit that goes, and it's the stubborn fat that's been there for years. So anybody that's out there that might be watching or will be watching it in the future or listening, is kind of just persevere with it. Just keep on keeping on, and the waist reduces, and don't worry about what the scales say too much, because you change shape more than what you do lose weight. The age-old story of, oh, well, I'm gaining muscle mass and losing fat is true. I mean, muscle, so say a pound of muscle maybe looks like that, but a pound of fat is that big, you know. So it is there, and the science talks. So yeah, just keep persevering, people. You will reap the benefits.
Nice.
I promise.
That's excellent advice. So I'm actually wondering, what is like, I look at my abs, then I say, like, okay, yeah, I've had, I'm improving. What's that one physical improvement that you look at when you're looking in the mirror?
Well, I was on the phone the other day, and my pecs my chest is now beginning to define a lot more. So when I first started training, I had proper moobs, so them like man boobs. But now, like, I can feel, even when I tense it, like there's muscle in there now. It's not just complete fat, you know. And my legs are my pride and joy. So my legs are probably the most muscular, and like my legs are quite thick, which is why I like my right kick. My right kick's my bread and butter. So yeah, seeing my legs define up, my calves and my quads, is a good tell for me. Yeah. My chest, my shoulders. I've got quite big shoulders, so anywhere else but my belly, really. Because that's going to take. I think it's. I mean, it's going to take a long time for that to come. I don't think I'll be anywhere close, even in December. I might be in December. You never know, but we'll see. I don't know.
Nice. So more importantly, how has you working out and working out so hard now benefited and changed your relationship with your wife?
See, I'm not around as much. So, like, every opportunity that I have to go training, I go training. I'm up early to train. I'm out on the road when the kids get in bed. So realistically, like, me and my wife had to have a sit down and a talk initially and be like, listen, I'm going to be training to have a fight. So that the only reason it's so intense is because I'm essentially going into camp, right? So if I was just training to lose weight, it might be a little bit different. You can probably have a different sort of conversation with your partner. But what I would say is communication would be key, because if you open those lines of communication and keep up to speed with how both parties are feeling, then you will be okay. I mean, everybody, there's a saying, I don't know whether it's a British saying, but there's a saying, and it's like, happy wife, happy life. So if your wife's happy, you will be happy too. So, I mean, it was a tough decision, because I said, like, I'm going to be training 5-6 times a week. I'll be training more than that, but training Thai, I'll be at the gym 5 or 6 times a week, and you're going to have to look after the children while I'm not there, and I'll pick up when I'm there and stuff. Like, it was, I wouldn't say it's changed, like, the relationship. However, she's had to pick up the slack where I'm not there. I say pick up the slack. Well, she's had to dig her feet in as well, you know. Not that she didn't before, but yeah. So she's had to pick it up a little bit more. But then, I mean, she's just gone back to work now. So she works evenings, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday evenings. So I'm gonna have the kids at the front end of the week. So I'm having to train around that as well. So that's changing the dynamic a little bit, because I'm going to have to take the kids to the gym and have them running about for a little bit. But it's a nice, friendly gym, so they won't mind. Hopefully, Craig, if you watch it.
Excellent. And it's funny what you said, because actually my last question, I literally wrote down here, I try to live by the rule, happy wife, happy life.
No way. But it's so true. It is so true, man. And I would say that communication is the foundation to any solid relationship. And if that breaks down, then you just don't know where each other's at. You don't know. Well, you just don't know. I mean, you couldn't run a business without communicating with your employees, and the way that you run a family is kind of like a business in some respects. You've got your incomings, you've got your outgoings, you've got your building to maintain, and your staff members. Like, it sounds crazy, like, saying that it is like that, but it kind of is. Like, calling your children staff members is nuts, but like, it's like, you still got to manage them. You still need to manage these things, and management's management, innit? Like, it is what it is. So yeah, communication, 100%.
Oh, that's perfect. That was going to be the question. What are your secrets to maintain that relationship with your wife? So you answered that one.
Communication and making time for each other. You still need your time with each other, right? I mean, me and my wife have just been having this discussion, trying to find out when we last had the chance to actually go out and maybe have a few drinks or a bite to eat without the kids. And it's been a little while. So, and then we spoke to Nana, and Nana then had the kids, so we could have some alone time. So yeah, I mean, it's important to have that alone time too. And time for you and yourselves. I mean, it's different with the kids in bed and you both sat downstairs, because you're still actually maybe doing your own thing. One of yours is watching soaps. I'll be writing up interviews or doing something, or editing a video. Like, literally phone off, undivided attention, and actually to be fair, when I say phone off, I mean on silent because my phone never gets turned off because it's always on standby. But yeah, having that undivided attention and that time to just spend with each other and appreciate each other again is imperative to success. So when you switch off, switch off. Don't say I'll switch off and then still be half plugged in. Because when I say I switch my phone on silent, like I will, and I'll check the notifications coming through, but I won't kind of go on and just jump on my phone, you know. If it's us time, it's us time. It's important.
Exactly. That's great advice as well. Thank you for that. So we hopped a little bit to the last question, but I'll go back now to the other ones.
Yeah.
So actually, we've been talking a little bit on Facebook, and during those conversations, you were telling me all the things that you're doing, your job, and then Fat Lad, and all the other things, and then you got 2 kids and your wife, and I was just reading all the things you were saying. I was like, wow, I thought I was busy. So one of the questions that comes up a lot from other fathers is just like, okay, so how can I find the time, or how can I organize my time to make sure that every aspect, every area of my life gets the time and my energy and my focus that it deserves? So I'm just wondering, what's your system?
The honest answer is you can't. There will be certain times where you focus on a given area, and then one of the other areas that you're not focusing on will naturally suffer. So I was just thinking of trying to. Do I have a pen? No. So when do you know anything about photography, Klaas?
A little bit.
So you've got the triangle of photography, right? You've got your light, your aperture. I don't actually know what it is, but there is a triangle of photography, and it's like your shutter speed, your aperture, and something else. And if you change one of them, then that changes, and if you change that, then it changes the dynamic of the triangle. And I wish I was able to explain. I'm going to have to research that and actually be able to give the analogy properly, because people regularly ask me that question. How do you manage everything? How do you give any given aspect that time without that suffering? And the real answer to the question is you can't. You just need to believe that you've got the right balance at that given time to focus on that, to then focus on that a little bit later. So let's relate this to what my situation, right? So I've got work, family, and then Fight Record and Fat Lad. So if I have to concentrate on work, then that triangle comes up and Fat Lad and family suffer. But then if I concentrate on family, then that gets bigger and then they suffer. And well, not suffer, but my attention isn't there as much as what it is. And if I concentrate on Fight Record, Fat Lad and Victory, like I'll concentrate and then they suffer. And when I concentrate on them for any length of time, you notice that because your attention isn't consistently there, that they do begin to slip. I guess, I mean, I'm only 27, so the management aspect of it might come over a period of time, but realistically at the minute, I wrote an article about it, like it is a juggling act, and finding the right balance and having a good structure to your days. And I mean, I'm quite flexible in the fact that I'm not a rigid planner. I'm kind of a wing it kind of guy. And my organisation skills have always and probably always will be my detriment. It's probably the one thing that I'm not great at and that I could improve upon. But like, I just take every day as it comes. So, right, what needs my attention today? Okay, so it's that. Right, I'll concentrate on that for today and have a look at that maybe later on in the afternoon or whatever. So you can do it. And people, I suppose, who are meticulous in the way that they do plan things have it down to a T. But if they feel they want to slot that in, be getting fit or trying a new hobby or spending more time with your family because you're working more than what you feel as though you should do, if you don't have a good work-life balance, then it's all about finding the levels. Where do you want it to be? Right, well, work's up there. My family's down there. We'll take it off work and put your family up a little bit. And and if you find the levels, I mean, I'm about there with family now. The guys have adapted really well to my training. So, I mean, 3 months in, I'm about there now with the family and stuff. Work has been a complete mess because I've recently lost my job and I've just started a new job this week. So that's a complete up in the air at the moment. And with that being so up in the air has had an impact on Fight Record and Fat Lad. You might notice that I haven't really been posting on it too much recently, like properly posting. I've been sharing the odd post on Facebook and stuff, but I haven't had my teeth into it. But that's life. And it's kind of, again, I refer back to, you need to look into Gary Vee. I'll send you the link to him because he's awesome. And I think he'll be good for you. But like, he's big on, he's got a saying, it's like, can't think of the saying, but it's like, overall, it's macro something, micro something else. So in the big timeline, everything's okay. So over the space of, if it's a 5-year plan, it's a 5-year plan. All the little bits don't really matter on the in-between bit. Do you know what I mean? So like, yes, I've got this view to fight in December, but this 2-week period in that gap isn't going to make a huge amount of difference in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And that's so true. And you're not always going to be 100% on your game. You probably be 80% of the time, because there's always going to be some outside variables affecting your mood, your feeling that day, or whatever. There's always going to be some variables in there, but you just kind of need to acknowledge that and say, right, well, what can I do today to make myself 1% better than I was yesterday? And vice versa. Just, there was an analogy that Will Smith said, or a story that he says, and he goes, if you try and build a wall just from the outset, the wall will probably turn out pretty crappy. You're not going to get the levels correct and you're not going to do everything properly. But if you lay it brick by brick, day by day, so if you lay 1 brick a day perfectly, then over the space of time, you're going to end up with a perfect wall. And that's true with life as well. So if you're not, don't feel as though that you, even at 40 or 50, the average age now of a person is 70 or 80. At 50 years old, you've still got another 20 years left to live. And 20 years is a massive span of time. It might not feel it when you're 50, but realistically, like, it is. And even at 27 now, like, I know that it'll be all right, whatever happens. So it's all just a case of patience and hard work. But getting the right balance is damn near impossible. Oh, sorry. No, it's not. You just need to study it and work out, right, my attention needs to be there. My attention needs to be there. Pull from that, and assess it on a daily basis. Like, have a think about it. Yeah. Crazy.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that. I like the way you keep talking and then you actually make nice links to my next question. So that's perfect. So let me continue with that.
I'm what's the word? Psychic. I know what's coming. I actually don't. For those that are watching, I actually don't know what's coming. For the record.
That's quite all right. So let's first talk about this. I'd like to talk a little bit about challenges. So one of the biggest challenges that I'm facing at the moment, I got 2 boys as well. My oldest is 5 and my youngest is 2. And the biggest issue is having them eat the vegetables. That's like one of the big issues I'm having at the moment. Now, that's not what I want to talk about. That's just an example. What I want to talk about is, okay, so for you at the moment, with Maximus being almost three, right? Yeah. 3, and Maverick being 9 months. what are the biggest, or what is the biggest challenge you're facing at the moment? And most importantly, how do you go about solving once such a challenge comes up?
Maverick's teething at the minute, which means he is a moody bum, and he's very clingy, which is all part of the process. But it just means that it's balancing attention for me. The biggest thing for me would be making sure that both kids, when I'm alone with them, that both of them get the right amount of attention from me. So because Maverick's a little bit younger, Maximus kind of can play by himself a little bit, but then he'll come up to me and say, Daddy, I want you to play with me. And like, for him to come over and say that to me, that means that he's been thinking about it for a little while. And had I only have one child, then I'm pretty sure that 7 minutes prior to that, I would have probably gone over and said, "Are you all right there, son? Do you want me to come and play with you?" And he'd have said, "Yeah, Daddy, that'd be great." Whereas that extra 7 minutes, and then he's plucked up the courage to come and say, "Daddy, I want you to come and play with me." Like that, finding the right balance and split of attention between the pair of them personally is probably the biggest challenge that I find. Because, I mean, how do you? I mean, Mav is so young that he needs your constant attention. You can't turn your back on him for a minute because he's going to be in at the fire. He's going to be crawling to the stairs and trying to climb up. He's going to be doing something stupid that children do to make themselves put their lives in danger naturally, because they're not sensible. They don't know what they're doing. How I overcome it, I'll let you know in a few years' time when I've figured it out myself. I don't really know. I mean, it's putting them in situations where you can rightly balance themselves. So, say for instance, I will, when I get in from work, I'll put the oven on and play with them both. Like, so we'll do joint play time. And then I will feed, which way do I do it? So I feed Maverick while Maxie's food's cooking, and Maxie will be playing a little bit by himself. So then my direct attention is to Mav while keeping my eye on Maxie. So I feed Mav, get him ready for bed, and then while Maximus and me are eating, Maximus has my sole attention while Mav's ready for bed. So Mav will be playing at the side of the table, and then I'll be having a conversation with Maximus about how nursery was that day. What did you do? And I can have a bit of a chat with him. And then I'll get Maxie ready for bed. We'll have a little play of the pair, like all three of us, and then we'll take him up to bed and do joint bedtime. So I mean, they're both in the same room. So it's kind of easy enough for me to... Maxie will sit and play and read a book or something while I get Maverick over to sleep. And then I'll sit and read a book with Maxie. We're reading BFG at the minute, talking about the Big Friendly Giant. And then we'll sit and we'll talk about the book. And he has that specific time that's just me and him. And having alone time with them where it is just you and him without the other external... without other distractions, not that they're distractions, but I can't think of a better word, with the other distractions. So say if we'll go for a walk and it'll just be me and Maxie, and then you can proper really like not get to know them, but like have a proper chat with them, you know, or if it's just going for a walk with Mav and you can have just a bit of alone time. I think that's quite important too, to have a bit of, because Maxie's already had that, and I think he might not remember it, and I know that he won't remember it 15 years down the line, but like I remember it and having that alone time with Maxie, and I think that's why number two child always develops that little bit slower. I don't know whether you've noticed that. If you've got one child, they seem to develop, or your first child seems to develop with their speech, with their movements, crawling, walking, talking, all of these things. For me, the first child develops a little bit quicker, and the second one in my head doesn't, because you don't have that undivided attention to give them all of the time. So yes, the process is a little bit slower because you don't have that hours on end to spend with them to say mama, mama. And you do with your first one because the novelty's there, right? But then for the second one, you're like, oh, come on, start talking, or don't start talking because I don't want you to shut up, and all the rest of it. But yeah, it's an attention thing for me, 100%.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah. When you have to, that makes sense. And you actually dropped some great knowledge there that you have to spend a long time, even if you have only one kid, of course. But if you have more, then the alone time with just one is very, very important.
I regularly send my wife out and just say, right, you take Maxie, go for a walk, and I'll have a play with Mav. Because Mav is still breastfed, so she spends quite a lot of time with him. And it's only recently now that I've got to spend quite a lot more time with him because she's at work on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I now have alone time with Mav, which I've never really had before. So I give him his bottle before bed, and I do all of that now, whereas he'd always be fed before bed by Amy, my wife. So yeah, and I feel as though now, I mean, I'm shit with newborns anyway. Like, they're just a little potato and I don't really know what to do with them. It's when they begin to get a little bit more personality that I can then start engaging with them and I can take over. And now he's getting to that point where, I mean, he's nearly 9 months. He's got his own little personality now, and he's getting cheeky, man. And like, so yeah, it's nice to be able to bond with him. I feel as though now, within the past few weeks, I've bonded with him a lot more because I've been able to spend that bit of extra time with him. So yeah, it's good. It's really good.
Excellent. So one of the other things that I got in as like, you know, because I'm asking people, so what's like your biggest struggle at the moment? I always like to learn from people. And I like this one, and I never thought about it. One of the fathers said, you know, the biggest problem that I have right now, and he has 3 kids, and he mentioned is, out of the 3 kids, I'm actually the biggest kid. So he's
well,
like,
there is that too.
So how do I, how does that work? And I was wondering, you know, in your case, how is this for you? And what's your thought on that?
Mate, if you was to ask my mum, like, how much of a stupid person I am, if you was to ask me, right, 5 years ago, if you was to speak to me, even, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, if you was to tell me I'd be married, have a mortgage, and have 2 kids, I'd have told you to shut up. That's absolutely crazy. Like, I am the most immature. Well, I'm not immature. Like, I'm the most stupid. Well, maybe not even stupid. Well, no, I am stupid. But, like, it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, my mum always calls me the stupid child because, like, I am like a big kid, and I think that's why I relate to kids so well, because I can come down onto their peg. And it's funny, man, like when I'm out and walking, or say if I'm sat in the train station waiting for a train and a kid catches my eye, like, and I'll smile at him or pull a stupid face, and I'll do something to engage him. Like, I go into nursery and the kids just come flocking because, I don't know, it's something about my personality that kind of just resonates with them. It must do. And I always put that down to my kind of, I don't like the word immaturity, my playful personality, let's call it. My playful personality just rings through to them. And like, even all the girls, all the women that work at nursery, they're like, oh, you need a jobby, are you? Pied Piper coming in and just collecting all the kids. Because when I go in, literally, they flock to us. Hi, Dominic, how are you? And they're talking to me and all of this. And I'm sat there, whoa, what's that? You've got a fire engine like that, whoa. And being the biggest kid in the family is tough. It really is tough. But you just got to embrace it. Enjoy it is what I'd say. It's not I wouldn't necessarily call it a challenge. It's a blessing. I mean, there must be somebody out there that hates the fact that they're hugely introverted. They don't like talking to people. But there's this little person pulling on their trouser leg saying, Daddy, Daddy. And they're just like, man, I just want to sit in my room and just be quiet in a dark room. And I feel more sorry for them guys. I mean, having a highly extroverted personality, which I do, is both a blessing and a curse. A blessing in the purely for the reason of, one, I don't give a shit about what people think about me, and if you've got an opinion, like, it just goes completely over my head. And two, like, I can have that playful, like, my wife always tells me off when we're say in a shopping centre, and I'll start chasing Maxie and say, come on in, and I'll go chasing him, and she goes, Dom, like, just calm down, you're in public, there's a time and a place to do that. But my playfulness and just want to have fun just far surpasses that of anything else, especially with the kids. You know, it's you can't, I don't know, you can't change, you can't buy time back, so why not enjoy every second that you have with them? I'm going to quote that. You can't buy, this is a quote, knowledge, you can't buy time back. So enjoy every second you have with them, because you never know when it's going to be your last, right?
Absolutely. And for some reason, I don't know why, I had the feeling like I have to ask you this, because you're going to come up with like the excellent answer that's going to make somebody feel good and be like, see the positive side of that. So thank you. And that was awesome.
Good. Being playful is a good thing. It shouldn't ever be a problem.
Exactly.
And being a big kid, just embrace it. Ask the lads who I'm in partnership with Fight Record, like, I am stupid. And some of the stuff that comes out of my mouth, like, I don't have that filter. And that's when you said it's a live interview on Facebook, and I was like, oh shit. I usually edit my bits because I always end up saying something stupid. But yeah, so like, just embrace it. You can't change who you are. So yeah, live with it and love your skin, man. It's great. If you are a big kid, you gotta love it. I love it.
Yeah, you can tell. Excellent. Thanks a lot for that. So this is the hook that you were talking about during one of the answers you were giving. So one of my personal challenges, and I'm sure you're having the same thing, having two kids, is staying patient. You got to take care of your kids, but you also got to do your work. You got to do your extra work. I got two dogs as well, my wife. So sometimes it's like, "Argh."
Yeah.
Especially now during the summer. So both kids are home and I got to take care of them 24/7. So how important do you think, or what's your thought on how important being patient is for a father? And how do you work on becoming more patient?
Patience is the key to everything. How do I deal with it? Don't know. Get on with it. It's difficult when you lose your temper a bit. When the tea's cooking, the TV's on, the kids are screaming, there's something else that needs doing, my phone's going off because there's an interview that needs to be done or an article that needs to be written, and that the elastic band or the tension on this rope that you balance ever so minutely and finely is tense, and then, I don't know, the kid Maximus drops a glass and it smashes, I'm making it up now, and that elastic band goes twang and everything just pings, and you lose your rag, or you lose your temper, and you flip, or you don't flip, but you get angry, and you kind of, then you say, what you doing, what you dropping the glass for, when really, when you think about it, if you'd have just come down to his level and said, oh, silly Maxie, what you dropping the glass for, like, it's, before you know it, the situation has spiraled into something that it might not necessarily have had to have been. but it's trying to identify the triggers. You have to try and identify your own triggers, because everybody will have different triggers, right? I mean, everybody's going to have something that makes them feel angry, or something that makes them feel sad, or something that makes them feel disgusted or stressed, or whatever that it'll be. There's lots of environmental variables that can influence that on somebody. So how I deal with it myself, I mean, there's been times where I've just had to walk out the room and close the door and just take a minute. I mean, there's other times where I just think, well, I don't know what people are so bothered about. Like, it's absolutely fine. So it's a difficult one, and it all depends on you and where you're at in the day, and or in your life, or in the week, or in the month. You know, it's a difficult one to pinpoint that, because patience is an attribute that you're either born with or you're not. And I suppose you can develop it over a space of time, but it's one of them things that you would have to. It's not a quality like that you choose to be. Do you know what I mean? You don't choose. I suppose you could be. I don't know. Do you choose to be patient, or does it not just? Is it not more of a reflex that you've got that level of patience for any one given situation or thing, and then as soon as that patience runs out, then the consequences for that are there? I don't know. I'm getting. It's quite a deep question, because I mean, can you teach yourself patience?
That's the one thing I'm still trying to figure out. I've worked with taking deep breaths when they come up, but
yeah, I suppose meditation and stuff like that could potentially help to reduce stress. I mean, I suppose that, I mean, for you losing your patience, you would then inevitably have to be feeling in a negative way. I mean, just trying to maintain a positive outlook will always mean that you are patient. I mean, I am optimistic and positive about 99% of the things. I mean, my wife's just said down there, when you start to worry, that means I start to worry, because if you worry about it, then it's got to be something to be worth worried about. Because I'm quite laid back, and there isn't an issue until there's an issue. And generally, when you find an issue, there's a resolution to the problem, so it's not really a problem. Does that make sense? Do you follow?
Yeah.
So then, I mean, having that sort of micro mindset, whereas if there's a problem, right, solve it, problem, right, solve it, problem, right, solve it, then I suppose you will be endlessly patient, because you only take it one job at a time. But it's all about self-awareness, I suppose, in the fact that you need to know your own triggers, and you need to know yourself before you could ever start dealing with external factors that would affect your stress. So if running helps, if breathing helps, and meditation, then do that. It's not one of them things that you kind of would discover and then think, it's not one of these things that you would just suddenly discover, yet you would have to try a few different things before you get to that place where you think, actually, yeah, that helped me. I know that when I walk into the Muay Thai gym, when I walk into Northern Kings, and I'm thinking, right, shin pads on, gloves on, gum shield in. For me, sparring is the most cleansing thing there is in this entire world, because you go into this flow state where you're thinking but not thinking about so much stuff that all of the external factors, it is like a form of meditation. So for me, that is my medicine. That is my meditation to a degree. So that is my time to switch off and think about nothing at the same time as thinking about everything. So it is finding your form of meditation, whether that's driving. It could just be something as simple as driving, or listening to your favorite album or favorite song, or just taking that 3 minutes to listen to your song, take you to your happy place, and then you can start your day. but it's you smile, but that's right. Or even if it's going for a walk or whatever. It could be anything. Stroking your dog, or I don't know, kissing your kids, saying goodnight, or because you've got your glass of wine waiting downstairs for you. It's completely up to you, right? I mean, I don't think I could give one thing that would work for all. It would just be a case of you need to experiment and find out what works best for you. Patience is a wonderful thing, and I believe that everybody needs to deploy it in every aspect of life, because if you're patient, well, good things come to those who wait. And that's an age-old saying, and it's true. If you're patient, you work hard, then good things will come your way. And I'm a firm believer of that. So, and everything happens for a reason. Patience.
Brilliant. That's a great way
God,
to
you're tapping into parts of my brain today, Klaas, that I never knew existed.
Excellent. Well, I'm happy to oblige whenever you want, and let me know. I can come up with questions to dig in that brain of yours. This has been wonderful. Thank you very much, Dominic, for your time.
Yeah, it's good. Thank you for having me on.
No problem. It was a blast and very educational. I hope a lot of people are going to benefit from this. Sure, I am 100% sure that will. Apologies.
All right.
Best of luck with your projects.
Thank you. Well, I'll keep you posted. Now that we've got connected, man, it'll be good. It'll be good to converse a little bit more and get to know each other a little bit more. And thank you for having me on. I said before we started, right, that this is the first interview that I've ever done being the interviewee as opposed to the interviewer. So I'm normally in your position, Klaas, asking all the questions, and it's been nice to be able to answer some questions. I have to really bite my tongue because there was a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you. Well, not that I but just naturally let the conversation flow. Do you know what I mean? And I know that interview techniques and everything like that, you need to stay quiet while you're and I find it's funny. But thank you for having me on and become a fearless father. Anybody that's watching, please share it. I mean, I am passionate about all things parents and fathers, especially dads. I mean, dads don't get enough recognition for what we do, and I know that mums spend a lot of time with the kids, but there are dads out there who are stay-at-home dads that might be struggling. And when I say stay at home, I mean work at home and do what they do, and just it will be okay. And you can't. The thing about being a parent is you can't do wrong. You might do wrong to somebody else's opinion, but if you don't live by somebody else's opinion, and if you don't, it relates back to what I said earlier. I don't give a shit about what anybody else thinks about me. And that relates directly to my parenting techniques. If I tell my kid to sit down and shut up in a place, and they look at me like, oh, well, he shouldn't be speaking to his kid like that. I'll speak to my kid how I want. If he's misbehaving, I'll tell him that he's misbehaving. And you need to draw that line with the kid. You can't let him just be running about riot and running into people. He needs discipline. And there are people, especially in this liberal age now, who will look at you and think, do you know what? I've got an opinion on the way that you father your pet or parent your child. And I have to regularly tell my wife, don't give a shit about what anybody else thinks about the way that you parent our children. They're not their children. They're your children, and you look after them in your own way. As long as you're not kind of punching them hard, I mean, or abusing them in any way, then you can't go far wrong. And you do learn from your mistakes. And there is no parent handbook and all of these things. And there's so many variables that you are all doing a great job. And belief in yourself that you are doing a great job will take you further than any bit of advice that anybody could give you. So believe in yourself. You are a good parent, whoever you are, no matter what, because your kid looks up to you and you're their parent. So yeah, sorry, I went on another rant, but it's you are, and think about how you think about your parents. I mean, your parents are your role models and always will be. You either take one of two things from your parent. You learn how to be like that, or you learn how not to be like that. And realistically, 9 times out of 10, you're going to aim for number 1. But even if you teach them number 2, you've still taught them that valuable lesson that they'll take with them. So, yeah, you're doing a great job, people.
Excellent. Thank you for that. I love when you go on rants. It's brilliant.
Crazy.
So, as last, if people still have questions or they would like to follow you, get in contact with you, what's the best way?
Absolutely. So probably the most direct way would be you can email me, dom@fightrecord.co.uk. So DOM@fightrecord. So FIGHT record.co.uk. You can email me. To be fair, most people are on social now. So Fat Lad to Fighter on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, whatever various social medias there are. I'm everywhere. Come and get me. I'm approachable. So yeah, I mean, if you've got a question, by all means, reach out and ask me. If you want to join me on the journey, or if you're even on the fence about it, and you're kind of a humming and hawing, then have a look through a little bit of the content that I've been putting out. And I've got some ideas now that I'm settling back into work, and I've got to get myself back into a routine of regularly writing and making videos again now. I've got some really cool ideas of how to try and add some value to people, because it's been up to now a lot of me documenting my journey, but now it's time to flip it and really add value to the other people. Now that I've had a chance to get to know my own routine, I really want to flip it and try and add a little bit more value to everybody. So I would suggest that you give us a like on Facebook, follow us on Insta, subscribe on YouTube, and Snapchat. To be fair, if you want to see me and my kids, Snapchat's where I do it. So you might notice that I don't put any of my kids out on my videos. I don't really talk about it much in my vlogs or anything like that. However, my Snapchat is the place that I spend my time with my kids. So my Snapchat is me. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's my family me. It's my day-to-day me. It's not my Fat Lad to Fighter me or my Fight Record me. So, yeah, if you want to get us on Snapchat, then you'll get to see Maxie and Mav running about in the nud with no clothes on, in swimming pools and all kinds of crazy things. But yeah, get at us, man. Love you.
All right, great. Well, thanks for that, everybody, for watching.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, man. We'll speak soon, okay?
Absolutely. Take care.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
See you later, mate. Thank you.
Are you still meeting up with your friends now that you're a father? Kids making you stress out. You got no time for yourself to work out, read, or relax. Can you still remember the time you were hanging out with your friends, feeling energetic, happy, and confident? Spending time together and talking about your life and your crazy dreams. You're feeling alone now, don't you? No one to share your challenges with, and you're just running around from one storm into the next. Well, it's time to change this now. Join me and the Brotherhood of Fearless Fathers to speak on a weekly basis with like-minded dads to crush your challenges, face your fears with determination, be held accountable, and regain control of your life. If you want to become the hero your family needs you to be, then go to becomeafearlessfather.com/brotherhood. I'm looking forward to seeing you on one of our next calls.